What is up, guys? You're tuning into this Okiru podcast. I'm your co-host, Jasper, and we thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope you enjoy this episode. Make sure to follow us on our socials at okiru.apparel on Instagram, Okiru on Facebook, Okiru on YouTube, and also Okiru on major platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope you enjoy.
Okay.
But did you hear about that old lady who was in the 80s who got black belt?
Really?
Yeah.
80s old
What,
got black
jiu-jitsu?
belt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mad.
80s? Is it 80s or 60s? Or it was really old age. You wouldn't imagine it.
Nah,
But,
yeah, 100%.
It was just like, what the fuck? This shit got a black belt, man? Like, holy shit, right?
Damn.
Crazy.
Never too late, man.
Yeah,
Fuck all
almost-
this up, bro.
Oh, shit would. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see this. Wait, are we recording?
Yes.
Oh
yeah,
shit!
No, it's
Hey.
Oh, okay. So, I guess we just introduce what is up, guys. Welcome to Okiru podcast. Today we got our boy Chris.
That's it.
We
to
haven't
be
seen
on.
him in a while, but he was one of our first podcast guests. It's good to have you on again, man.
Good to be back.
Yeah. So what's been happening on? Like, what's been going on the last year since we last saw you? Was it last
Yeah,
year?
wait,
A
how
year?
long has it been?
Was it 2021 or 2020? Time has just like been a.
It's a blur now, man.
Yeah. But yes, you continue to. I want to research what we were talking about. That old lady who got her black. I'm really curious now.
Yeah, let's see.
You got BJJ black.
I'll include what we talked about previously because I started
Oh, yeah,
recording
yeah,
when we
yeah,
started
yeah.
talking
Yeah.
exactly
Yes, please,
that.
just include it, man.
So they have context.
65 years old.
That's
65.
Yeah, black belt, man.
That's a good thing about BJJ is that you can actually do it into old age.
Right.
And you can still succeed
Yeah.
massively.
Wow. Because would you say in BJJ, it's why would you be able to do it in an old age? Because that's still a very physical thing, right?
It's mostly because it's not. You don't have to be super athletic to do it. Anyone can do it.
Right.
Because it's more about technique over athleticism. Like it's meant to be the person with the best technique can use good leverages in order to overcome someone with bigger and stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, even because if you watch a lot of Joe Rogan, like he talks about just how BJJ is such a, it's a very technical sport.
Bless you.
Bless you, friends. But and just because some guy looks big doesn't mean he's necessarily the best.
Nah, not a
Sometimes
chance.
you could get like the skinny, scrawny guy that can just take that guy down, right?
Yeah.
Like if you know the technique, the right moves, how to do things, and experiment with that, like you can, destroy anyone.
Yeah.
Because you can never really judge someone anymore. Like you don't know if they might know BJJ, man. It's like, oh shit, like this guy can fuck me up. So I do BJJ. Oh shit, yeah, I don't want to fuck with you, man.
Like anyone who says they have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I have the utmost respect for.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
you could do it for so many years and put in train almost every single day, you still won't get your black belt.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it that hard to?
It's extremely hard to get it, and there's different factors that go into being eligible for it, but it's mostly like a combination of how long you've been doing it. Like some people say it's like to see, like the instructor will see like how much of your own potential you're living. So like you could be a white belt, like fucking everyone up,
Yeah.
and you just started, but you're not going to get promoted just because you're like fucking everyone up, because you're not living to your potential yet. Like you have so much further to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. Oh, damn.
Like that kind
That's
of
all
stuff.
about your potentiality.
Yeah.
Like, oh, damn.
Crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Did you hear about there's this BJJ guy that I always go back to Joe Rogan about BJJ because I was listening and I always hear about BJJ from him.
Yeah.
And there's one guy like that teaches BJJ. I don't know if you've heard him, John Donaher.
Yeah.
And like how he's like during the this guy like trains every day, like BJJ every day, and
Probably
then,
multiple times a day.
yeah,
as well.
multiple times a day, every day, and like. It's just crazy, just what they do, man. Like anyone who comes out of his dojo or whatever you call it is just
I think they're called the Death Squad.
the death squad. Yeah, they're just like the Donaher death squad. They're just like fuck everyone up, right?
Yeah.
But coming back from where we were since we last met, you were into powerlifting heavily, and now that's completely changed. What made you have this decision to go from powerlifting to MMA now and have that focus?
Mm-hmm.
What drove that?
Well, I kind of in a sense, I shifted my career, and I wanted my athletic endeavors to at least have a return on investment towards my career at least. And I moved to security. So with security, being better at protecting people in some sense and being able to defend yourself and protect other people it makes you a better security guard. And in my mind as well, I kind of had I don't know how cringy it might sound, but like what's it called, like an identity shift where I wanted to see myself as like a protector of just whether it's through my profession or through my day-to-day life. I want to be able to protect my loved ones and protect people who need to be protected. And MMA suits into that, where it's like something I find extremely fun, but it's also ties into what I see myself as in a sense.
Do you consider you say you want to like have that protection, you want to be a protector, do you think maybe your thing might be best suited for a different profession as opposed to a security guard?
It could be. I was thinking possibly getting into the police force, or even doing bodyguard stuff as well. But right now this is where it's at. We'll see how that progresses over time.
So you talk about like that shift from being from powerlifting now to fighting, because before you were also doing kickboxing, correct? That was
a long time ago, like 2013, 2014. Then I moved to powerlifting. But I think initially I got into powerlifting just because I was like initially a lot better at it than I was at kickboxing. At least in my eyes, but it's just I got addicted to the progress and seeing how much better I did than my peers, and that's what got me excited into it. Because back then I had really low self-confidence, and I'm like, I'm finally good at something. You know what I mean? Like this is the only thing I'm good at. I might as well do it, like that kind of thing. And I just did it because it kind of filled that void in a sense. And then along the way, it did teach me a lot of things, and I don't regret it at all. But I realized towards the end of my time in powerlifting, I was kind of doing it for the wrong reasons. It was more just to like fill my ego in a sense where like, I want to grab this record because I want people to look at me in a certain way, like have respect for me or blah, 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 that kind of thing, rather than just doing it for myself. I was doing it more to just impress others. So now I'm swapping over to this, and I'm doing it for something greater than myself.
Nice.
Which gives me insane amounts of motivation to continue doing it even when things get hard, because it's not just for me.
That's awesome, man.
I was gonna say, was there a lot of things that you can do that you took from the powerlifting now that you're doing like MMA? Is there a lot of things that that you can take from the powerlifting to?
Massively. I'd say body awareness. Body awareness is massive for that. So being able to control your body and just, I'm sure you guys know what body awareness is, as well as discipline. What else? Discipline. Knowing the sciences behind all athletic training in general. Grit and determination, and just being able to knuckle down and being able to flip a switch when you need to, which is really good. But all of those things definitely had carryover into MMA.
I imagine the amount of focus you need for MMA. Imagine being in a position where you're getting choked as hell, and then what do you do? You panic, but you have to get that focus back. What's it like, being in those situations where you're getting choked the fuck out? What do you do? What is your mind? have you trained your mind to like be composed in those situations?
You just you train your mind just by being in it very often. You become desensitized to it, and you realize like initially you're gonna be like, oh fuck, what do I do? This is so uncomfortable. This is painful. I'm gonna get choked out, or he's gonna snap my arm or something like that, or I'm getting punched in the face, etc. Initially you go into panic mode, but when you keep doing it over and over and over and over again, you realize it's actually not as bad as you think. And as well as you start to become more analytical in your mind. You start to think like, okay, instead of like, oh shit, he punched me in the face and everything goes out the window, you start to think like, okay, let's defend here, defend there, blah, blah, blah. How can I escape this? How can I escape that? That kind of stuff. And you have to be, very analytical about it.
Was it very scary coming back into the MMA, like fighting scene? Like,
no, it's actually exciting.
Exciting?
To be honest.
But you never had like that when you, or the very first time, did you have that?
Oh,
thing?
100%. When I first came into a kickboxing gym many years ago, or 2013 was the first time I went there, and I was just like kid coming from playing World of Warcraft 16 hours a day, thinking like, seeing like the head trainer there just screaming at all these athletes like, I'm gonna fucking bash you if you don't do this. Like you're an absolute dickhead, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like intimidated as hell by this trainer. That was definitely, it's kind of scary. But I just had back then I had like massive determination in my mind. Like I need to change myself like massively.
So now it's so much more different. Like
it's
you're just excited.
Because I know that it's like I've been there before. And as well as, I don't know, I know that it's just all part of the process. And so it's like, I'm just comfortable with that scenario now.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Like I think if I was to walk into the gym and I saw someone like you staying there, I'd be like, oh man.
I think I'm gonna die today. If I die today, it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
What everyone says though is that they notice is like usually the biggest or strongest people at like any sort of gym is usually the nicest.
100%.
Because they don't have anything to prove.
That's true.
That's so true. Yeah. No,
sure.
Nice.
But yeah, like that building the confidence through the action of doing it and through the amount you do it. That's how you build the, what's the word? Oh, fuck.
It's like the practice.
Getting used to it. And sometimes you just have to eat shit, man. Like, like I was just realizing, man, I was like telling my missus, like, man, sometimes I realize you just have to eat shit. Like, sometimes like going into an interview, it's scary, but like, if you don't do it, you already lost. So if you just do it, you eat shit, you try to learn from that experience. And then you 100%. Keep going, you have more interviews, and then you get used to the feeling of the environment of what it's like, right? You know, because you can't just go into a situation expecting it to turn out the way you want to, especially if it's the first time, right? So yeah, man, like just not to eat shit.
The times I learn most in the gym is when I eat shit.
Exactly.
Straight up, like if I had someone get me in a submission and they're about to rip my arm off, I'm like, it's going to be permanently ingrained in my head. Learn how to defend that exact submission.
Exactly, right?
You know what I mean?
It comes back to that question, like, can you learn without suffering? Like, is the only way of learning through suffering? And it was just like,
kind of is, man.
Exactly, right? It kind of is the only way to learn. And like if you didn't eat shit with that move, you wouldn't know how to defend it, right?
Exactly.
If you knew everything,
or maybe I might have the theory of knowing how to do it.
Exactly.
But unless you get put in that situation, it's not going to be like, you need to have like almost an emotional attachment to learn something like fully.
Exactly. Exactly right. Shit, man. So, you know, I remember last time we talked, like you were very ingrained in self-help and reading. Is that something you're still practicing? Is that something you're still doing?
Read, but not as much as I want to, at least. Like, but I still, I haven't been doing it as much as I'd like to. But I think it's just because I'm in a bit of a hectic period of my life, and it's just I'm just caught in a little bit of a whirlwind right now. Just with changing careers and moving, like moving houses like nonstop the past couple months. So yeah, it's like anytime I can find to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But most of the time, my spare time is just being spent sleeping.
Yeah. I'd
At the
imagine.
moment, at least.
Yeah.
All the recovery that
yeah.
you must have to go through.
100%, yeah. Because training a whole bunch and then working all the time. Yeah, it's and then working shift work as well. So it's it's a pretty hectic, but it's fine.
Yeah, no,
It'd be sweet.
Yeah. How's that growth been from last year to where you are now? How do you feel as a person?
I don't feel as a person.
Have you noticed? Have you reflected on that? Like, man, like last year I've grown so much because of this.
I haven't actually done the reflection. Man, it's good that you brought that up. But I think ways I've grown is that, let's see, I'm just trying to think of like outside athletic development. Well, I definitely have more work ethic than I used to, even though like I still had good work ethic back before. But I think it's like I've never had this level where I just feel like I'm almost like working all the time and like looking towards improving nonstop all the time. And it's hard to switch off now. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Yeah, I mean, it can be. Depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one side that I've grown, at least in the past year. And yeah, that's the main thing I can think of. Like I'd have to think about it, like reflect on it properly. Yeah.
No, it's good that you bring that up. Like you can get to many different like opinions on this. Some people will say, "Oh man, that's so unhealthy. Like you're just gonna burn yourself out." And some people will be like, "I respect that. Like, man, just keep going. All the work you're putting in is gonna pay off. Like, you keep on that. I don't want to say the grind, but you keep on that workhorse that you have right now. Like, you stay consistent as much as possible. So it's kind of hard to listen to. What do you listen to, right?
Depends on what you want out of life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and your capacity, I guess, of the person.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. What do you want out of life, man?
Well, what I want out of life is to create the most positive impact as I can before I die. So whatever way I can do that, I'm going to do that. That's so through what I'm doing now is through what I'm doing now is just in a sense just trying to continuously improve on my skill sets and improving myself so that I can better give back to other people. And I'm not sure what else to say.
Good. That's good. No, that's good, man. Like, how did you imagine that before, and how do you imagine that now? If you can, like,
before I wanted to do it through powerlifting, and I like now that I'm swapping over to MMA. It's like, and I'm basically just starting this endeavor. I don't feel comfortable like swapping over my coaching services to MMA because I'm not like an authority in that. I'm not an expert in that subject yet. So it's going to take some time. So I want to get in the trenches and like go through what I need to, like, so I can walk the walk when it comes to this, and then eventually start teaching people about it. That's way further down the road, but it's just a journey that I want to go through at least. And then in the meantime, while I'm doing this, while I'm working security, at least I can have a positive impact in making people feel safe. And sometimes even potentially saving people's lives. It's not my life's work to do security, that's for sure. But it's just a stepping stone at this point in time.
Have you been like in your job put in a situation where it's very dangerous or?
Oh yeah. There was a guy at the hospital, probably a couple of weeks ago that had a machete, and he was in the psychiatric ward, and he was threatening a bunch of people with that. Luckily, they were able to confiscate it off of him before he actually decided to do anything. But yeah, he was like known for being an extremely violent individual as well. In terms of other situations, there's Nothing too crazy it's at least yet. It's mostly just being like the odd brawl here and there that we have to break up. But yeah, it's not too bad so far. We'll see how it goes. Because Ballarat's not exactly super hectic.
Well, hopefully you don't hopefully you don't get into those dangerous situations too often.
No, 100%. Like they don't. I prefer to avoid it as much as possible, obviously. But it's like if it does happen, it kind of like in a weird way excites me. But as long as I don't get too badly injured.
That's what matters, man. Like as much as you want to protect everyone, you're going to protect yourself too.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, it's like, you know how you're talking about previously, how like you have to have that mental switch when you're fighting from like, you know, I'm thinking you're saying from being like calm and then to like really aggressive and when you're doing powerlifting, and I noticed like when we were filming you, there's a lot of hype and like thing to like get you really excited,
like getting the build up before a set.
The build up, does that, like when you translate that into fighting and stuff like that, does it work, or like it's more like what you're saying, like switch that you had to kind of turn on and off? Because like I feel like in
what do you mean, like as in does it work if I do that constantly?
Oh well, in fighting is like, is that something that you can you feel like constant, like in the gym and stuff, like when you're fighting,
the thing is, it's like you need to have this switch because you need to turn it off as well, because you don't want to take your sparring partner's heads off. Just snap their arm and just like you'll snap your training partner's arm and you're like when in reality, like you're meant to look after each other, you know what I mean? But from it does have carryover in the sense, if you do get in the ring, it's going to be you need to have some level of aggression. You can't just be timid and like relaxed. I mean, you should be somewhat like relaxed and be present and all that kind of stuff, trying to avoid having too much nerves where it becomes crippling. Like some nerves is good in the sense that it kind of keeps you on your toes and like gets you a bit excited, and like you're less likely to screw up if you're like if you are like that. And you'll be taking your opponent a lot more seriously if you're a little bit nervous as well. You're not going to just go into the match and just like think, oh, I'm going to beat this guy, and then you don't take him seriously, you just get knocked out, that kind of thing. But that's I kind of forgot. I forgot the original question now.
I guess what I was like, I guess what I was trying to ask was, you know, when you see people fighting, sometimes they say like, you know, you have to be calm like water or something like that, like very like cool headed. I guess which one would be a better way to think during a fight?
You should be more likely to be calm. You should be calm, but you should have like almost like a very focused level of aggression, not like a unbridled aggression where you're just trying to like swing and like don't care about your own safety kind of thing.
Right.
Like leave your chin wide open as you're swinging punches. It should be more like, very focused, channeled aggression in a sense.
Right. It's a very
controlled aggression.
Right. Yeah.
Because in a sense, it will help you get your adrenaline pumping as well. And when your adrenaline is pumped, like you need some level of adrenaline if someone's like coming at you, especially if you're taking hits, you're going to feel less pain when you have adrenaline as well. You'll hear of a lot of fighters, they don't feel that much pain even though they're absolutely fucked up. You know
until after the match.
The match, they're like hobbling, or once everything's gone, they're like, oh god, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So so how would you train that control?
Like, I guess never haven't thought about that for a while, but I'd say it's one through practice, which is through anything. But it's like, I'd say meditation definitely helps so that you can actually like learn to be in control of your emotions. Like be able to know when like you're experiencing an emotion that you don't want, and like you can catch yourself in the moment, so you can start to try and channel that emotion that you do want. In a sense. How do I say it? Maybe visualization definitely helps a ton. Like that's something that's helped me massively is visualization. You kind of want to visualize something that's going to get you the exact emotion you want, no matter how dark that visualization might be. Like I don't know if you guys have heard of a guy named Eddie Hall.
Yes.
Yeah, like when he was going to lift 500 kilos, he said that before he said that before the 500 kilo lift, he was literally like, I don't know what what's allowed to be said on the podcast.
That's right, we've been swearing it.
Basically, he said that he imagined that there was like someone raping his one of his family members, and he had to lift the guy, like rip the guy off of him, and then he was doing that through a deadlift, and you could see before his 500 kilo deadlift, he was absolutely going insane.
I remember seeing that his eyes were bulging
out of his and then he was just like bleeding everywhere. Apparently his blood pressure was literally unreadable.
Fucking hell. That sounds dangerous. I mean, he was able to do it, but
he said that like he would, if he kept that up, that's why he had to retire, because I'm pretty sure his health was just completely down the drain. He said if he kept this up, he probably would have died. Like all the doctors were just telling him like, you got to stop. And his family life was suffering massively because of all the sacrifices he had to make in order to get to that level at the time.
I feel like there could be a healthier way to visualize that.
100%.
Like, sometimes you fuck around with your mates at the gym and they'll be like, they're spotting you and be like, oh, imagine this way is like your partner or something is like
getting crushed by
and it's like, why would you think about that? Like sometimes for me, if I just visualize me lifting that weight, then when I do it, it's like,
that helps as well.
That helps, right?
Because you're visualizing success in your mind.
Exactly, right? And it's just like Michael Jordan, like you'll visualize doing that free throw, that fadeaway shot, and he gets it in.
It was a very extreme example.
Of course.
It's like you kind of need extreme measures almost for those extreme athletic feats.
Yes,
you know what I mean? He was the first man to ever do that.
So you need that extreme measure for sure. Something that's uncommon to everything else.
Uncommon is like an understatement, because I think that athletic feat back then was like unimaginable, because before that, I think the world record was like 460 something kilos. And like in the strongman world, it was literally known as like, everyone was saying that like no one's going to reach 500 kilos within the next few generations. And then it went from like 465 all the way to 500 kilos in one, like from one competition to the next. And it's just like, what?
That was his record as well.
So it's like absolutely insane. Like the whole strength world went absolutely bonkers. Because it's almost unheard of, that kind of progress at that level. It's ridiculous. So that's uncommon is definitely an understatement.
But then had that controversy with Thor though.
Now they got the boxing match coming up.
Is that actually happening?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's scheduled. Like it was supposed to be, I think last year, but Eddie Hall like tore his bicep off the bone throwing a punch.
Oh god. Oh man.
Yeah. He had to get surgery.
So much weight, I guess, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of weight and power.
Yeah.
Man, that's like with me. Like I did a powerlifting program and I was like, fuck, this feels really cool, like lifting these weights.
Yeah.
And after that program, I did it a second time. And on that second cycle, I was like, man, my body's
destroyed.
Fucked. Like, and I just had to stop. It's a 6 week program. And then on the fifth week, I was Candida.
Candida, yeah.
On the 4th, 5th week, I was like, man, my body's gone. Like, I can't do it.
That's pretty standard one. I wouldn't advise that one for someone actually trying to get into powerlifting. That's like more of just a beginner's strength training program in my Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Well, it was just like a recommended one by my other powerlifting mates that
Yeah.
did it. I was like, I may as well try it. And I
It's
was
the
like,
general recommended one
Yeah.
for people just like looking to get into it without having to pay for a coach kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah, I'd imagined.
Yeah.
But like after that, I was kind of like, you know what, stuff this. I'm done with lifting heavy weights. And now I've just been focusing on like form and trying to strengthen everything else because longevity is my priority now. I don't
As it
give a
should be.
shit about, it should be, right? I don't care about who can lift 300 kilos or 200 kilos. It doesn't matter to me anymore, man. Like you can lift that far, respect, but I just want to be able to, you know, have my body at 60 years old and like still be able to be mobile and walk around, man. So, you know, just that mindset shift.
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. Different strokes with different folks, man.
Yeah.
So,
Because I definitely have had my fair share of injuries in powerlifting.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. What about now? Like in like your MMA, are you getting injured or anything like that? Or
Not at the moment
less?
because I'm not. I haven't done any training camps where it needs to be super intense. And I haven't done that much hard sparring yet. Like because I need to get my grappling up to par. For the moment. So yeah, we'll see. It's fine so far. I think the closest I got to injury with MMA is doing stretching so far. Because I was doing like doing side split routine, and all I felt was like in the side of my left knee was like I could hear it like a loud rip.
Oh god.
And it feels okay now, but I haven't gotten to a side split since, and that was like probably 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens when I get into that same position. If it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Because it didn't hurt when I heard that rip, but then my knee felt all funky afterwards. So I'm assuming it might have been a ligament.
Yeah.
That might have tore or something.
I heard like flexibility is like a really good thing to have in BJJ.
It's massively good.
Have you been doing like anything to help with that, like yoga or anything?
There's an online stretching routine that I've been doing that's called hyperbolic stretching routine, which is like it's a paid one, but it's basically a front split, a side split routine, and I think they got upper body stretching routine, but I haven't been doing that. Just been focusing purely on side splits just so I can get my head kicks again. It works great for I can do my head kicks again. It's nice. What's it called? It was I think it's called a pike, where you can bring your head down to your knees with like straight legs.
Right.
Like the hamstring mobility. What else? There's an upper body pike. Yeah, it's mostly those. And then they got like the further stretching routine, which is like once you've achieved the side splits and the front splits, you can take it even further and do like the over splits where like, how do I describe it? It's like you're in like an upright position, like doing the front splits, for example, and you can bring your feet up further up like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Are you able to achieve like the side split, the front split?
No, not fully. Like I can get sort of close, but it takes a lot. When you're trying to push lifting, because I'm still trying to maintain getting stronger, but doing that while trying to do the side split routine at the same time, it's kind of like you'll get some progress and then it kind of reverts it back a little bit, and then you get more progress and it reverts back a little bit. So I just need to do it for a bit longer. Like I'm making a lot of progress on it. Before I could barely get my feet past shoulder width. And then like now I can pretty much almost touch the floor, which is good.
Damn.
Oh shit.
Nice.
That took about 30 days of doing that. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, 30 days of doing it, like to get to that point. So I reckon another 30 days, I'll probably get a full side split.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
How do you increase your flexibility? Is it just more like stretch until it hurts and it's what's
what they do in that stretching routine is it's a thing called PNF stretching, which stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which is just a fancy way of saying like contract and release kind of thing, contract and relax. So it's like, let's say you're doing hamstring. So you stretch your hamstring out, and like you get to a certain point here, you get to like your end range of motion, like as far as you can go. And then you push your heel into the ground. Like you're basically trying to tense the hamstring as hard as you can, and then once you tense it, you relax, and you can actually go further into the stretch. So you're almost like tricking your brain into being able to actually go further than it normally can through just general static stretching.
Right.
And you'll do that, but you won't do the contract and relax too many times in a row, because eventually you can get a bit too far for like your body's capability, and you might end up like tearing something. So you're gonna do it like, I think it was up to like maximum of five times, like 5 contractions, and then you sit in that stretch for like 10 seconds once you've done the 5 contractions, and then you just stop. Otherwise your muscles get really fatigued as well.
After the thing, you just feel like they're dead.
It's almost like it's a straight up workout.
Yeah. Damn. Nice.
Yeah.
Man.
Have you done yoga before, like in a session?
I've never done a formal
Like
yoga
class?
session before now.
Oh, really?
I want to try it so bad. I definitely need it in some areas. Like my upper body is just tight as hell, man.
Yeah, man, definitely try it. I was thinking, because we might have a class on Saturday. If you're free, I'll see if we can get you to come in.
Yeah, see what happens, man.
Yeah.
The 12th, right? 12th.
10:30.
Oh, no. Like, what day is it? 12th.
It's the 12th. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
12th.
12th.
March Saturday, the 12th. I'll see if I can, maybe we can get you in that class if you're free. So you can see what it's like.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I remember when our mate did it, Lim. He was like, I was sweating my balls off. JP was sweating his balls off, and Lim was like, "Oh,
Was it hot yoga or was it regular yoga?
Regular yoga." And like, "Oh, you guys are sweating." Like that was just like a very easy.
Imagine
like,
hot yoga, dude.
Yeah, I want to try it, but
I want to try it as well, but I'm probably gonna pass out.
Yeah, I want to get better at yoga, and then probably try hot yoga, and then see where that goes. But yeah, that class that he said was just like a very novice class. It was like so hard to do, and I was like, man, yoga is really like, it's pretty tough if you've never done it before.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially if you're really stiff as well.
Yeah.
Like you weightlifters,
lifting weights.
If I went straight into yoga, like off of powerlifting, before where I'm at now, I would have died.
It's crazy.
I would have straight up died.
It's so crazy how stiff you can get from just lifting weights, but then you realize how important it is to get that flexibility through these movements, right?
When it comes to powerlifting, it's you almost like purposely get stiff in certain areas, because if you have too much range of motion, then you're not going to be able to produce as much force.
Right.
So that's why powerlifters specifically a lot of them will be pretty stiff, but they'll only be flexible in certain areas. Like, for example, someone who's a sumo deadlifter is going to have a pretty flexible groin, but they'll be like stiff in their glutes, etc., and they're stiff in their core and their trunk. Like, you'll notice almost every powerlifter will not be able to rotate very far like this, because they need to not, like, if you rotate at all when you're lifting, you're gonna injure your spine. You know what I mean? So they're very strong at anti-rotation. Like so they're not gonna be able to do those yoga poses, twisting and stuff very much.
No way.
You know what I mean?
Does that create a lot of imbalances in your body?
It can, yeah.
And like,
that's why a lot of what's it called? A lot of powerlifters will have specific accessory movements where they have to address those imbalances.
Right.
Otherwise, they're gonna just be in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You were doing that a lot during your powerlifting days, like
supposed to. Maybe that's why I got injured so much. Jeez.
Yeah, because I always hear about, like, I guess I saw this article. I didn't read the thing. I just read the article of the title of the thing, and it just said like, oh, like bodybuilding is actually bad for your posture and stuff like that. I don't know, because I didn't read the thing, but I was like, oh.
Don't believe every article, man.
I don't. But like, I guess when you just mentioned it, like about like the imbalances and stuff like that.
Facebook. Believe Facebook, man. They know everything. Turmeric cures cancer and COVID.
Doing
just where you get the
doing just bodybuilding might actually be bad for your can be bad for your posture in a sense. But if you do like corrective exercises which is still part of bodybuilding in a sense, you can fix your posture pretty easily.
Yeah. You got to look out for those little things.
Man.
The little things, man, can make the biggest differences.
Don't only train chest and biceps, and then completely neglect your back. Because then you'll be like hunched over like this, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, bodybuilding's bad for you." Like, no, because you're not training your back. Like, look at that, that's gross.
Yeah.
It's like,
I got big
it's my back's fucked.
It's like those guys that go use their oils in the thing.
Synthol injections. Yeah, synthol, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's gross, man.
Gross, man.
Yeah.
I don't understand it though, because it's like, I understand that they want bigger muscles or whatever, but it doesn't even look like they have bigger muscles.
Yeah.
It just looks like a balloon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I saw that, I was like, what in the world? Because you don't have the strength either. Like,
Yeah, you don't have
Like-
strength, you don't have look.
you
or
don't have the
anything.
look.
Yeah.
You just look like a
That's the
balloon.
point, the point, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just look like a meat balloon.
Not a beat, he had a big balloon.
Exactly.
It was all that fake synthetic shit. Damn.
Yeah.
So, do you have a specific diet you're following for?
At the moment, it's nothing special. It's just get my necessary amount of protein and then the rest is kind of like generally whatever I want within reason though.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna be honest. I eat junk food almost every day because it's the only way I could hit my calorie intake while doing MMA and like training so much. Because my daily intake just to maintain my body weight averages between anywhere to 5,000 to 6,000 calories depending on the day.
So it's 6,000 calories.
Because it's a lot of cardio involved and a lot of training. So it's like, and I weigh a lot as well. So I'm nearly 120 kilos. So yeah, it takes a lot of calories to sustain me. So,
what's like the daily food that you would eat? You said you eat a lot of junk food. Was that like burgers, pizzas?
a lot of servo food, honestly, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Meat pies and
Meat
stuff like that.
pies.
meat pies, sausage rolls, like sushi and stuff. What else? I'll probably go to, it's not necessarily junk food, but like a lot of go-tos is like the Woolworths roast chicken. I'll have like one of those a day. What else?
Do you ever eat like just things to get calories in? Like, what do you call it? Just like a shake and no shakes
Not
anymore?
at all. Like, because then if I do that, even if my calorie intake is 6,000, I'll be hungry. Like if I have I need to be satiated through eating like lots of food.
Damn. How much in a day, like hours are you eating? But I guess you eat like pretty quickly though.
Yeah, I do. Like all the hours, man. But nah. I don't know. I think it usually takes me. I'll probably eat like 3 times a day, but it's averaging about 2,000 calories a meal. It'll probably take me like 10 minutes to eat a meal.
Oh, damn, you stop it.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, I eat really quickly.
Nail that shit.
Yeah, straight up.
The crazy thing is you're like even though you eat a lot, and I remember like seeing you eat like I remember you ordered like food and then you're just like, oh, is that for everyone? But yeah, like you lost like so much weight from like just a transformation from now, and like even seeing you from a year ago like to now, like you're just getting more and more ripped. It's just like crazy, like damn.
Kind of what happens when you train a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
How many days a week do you train, and how many hours of those days?
So I average anywhere between 5 to 6 days a week of training. Actually, no, it would be pretty much 6 days all the time. Whether like in terms of MMA training, it would be 5 to 6 days, but in terms of just training altogether, it would be 6 days. And I'd average anywhere between 3 to 5 hours a day in terms of training. Yeah, and there'll be the most time consuming one would be actually no, they're both equally time consuming. I was going to say weight training. I was about to say that weight training is a bit more time consuming, but it's not really because MMA training is anywhere like 2 to 3 hours on average, and then weight training is anywhere between like 2 to 3 hours also. Actually, I just realized. But I'll do them both on the same day. I won't do like I should split it up, but I just don't have the time. Ideally I'll do it morning, one night, but don't have the luxury of that.
Yeah,
at the moment.
So what's your average day look like?
Average day, if I'm working, it'll be. Oh, actually, it's pretty hard to say my average day is because I'm on call and it's like shift work. Like, let's say I'm working in the nighttime. Let's say I'm working at 10 p.m. It'll be like for a night shift. I'll wake up at like whatever time, like maybe 11 a.m. and I'll have my food, etc. And then I'll probably go to the gym to lift weights at probably about 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m. ish. I'll finish that. I'll do that for a couple hours. I'll finish that around maybe 5:30 ish at the latest. Like if I finish it at 5:30, or 5:30, I'll be taking my sweet ass time. But because training would be at 6:30 for MMA. So yeah, I'll do that. So I'll train weights, chill for a bit, like in between, maybe for like half an hour to an hour, and then go straight to MMA training, which is at 6:30. And then from 6:30 to 8:30 would be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and then striking. Sometimes I'll have like one-on-one PT sessions before the initial training starts. So it'll be 3 hours of MMA training. So it'll be, 5:30 I'd do the one-on-one. Yeah. And then 6:30 I'd have the class, and then the 7:30 I'd have the next class. Finish at 8:30. Then 8:30 to I'll go straight home, get dressed, chill for a bit, go to work, and then that's it.
Yeah. Damn. How was that, from your last way of doing things per day? How's that? What was the transition like? Was it hard, or was it already kind of normal for you to?
Oh, it was somewhat hard, but like before, because I was just on my own terms. I'd kind of just wake up whenever. Yeah. And then I'll go to the gym whenever. And then when it comes to doing check-ins with clients, I'd generally do it towards the nighttime. If I can get it out of the way in the morning, I'll do it in the morning. Yeah. But there was no massive pressure to get it done. There's like, I always tell my clients that I'll do the check-in whatever day they're actually scheduled to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It's not honestly not too crazy. It's like nothing that I couldn't handle.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Because when you say it's hard, it's like, I don't know. Like in my mind, it's just like life is hard in general. So like, true. So it's like, it's just a normal challenge of life. I just have that. That's the way I kind of perceive it in my head.
That's
so it's nothing out of the ordinary per se.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that takes a lot of toll on your body training. Like it's roughly 6 hours a day. How do you
up to
6 hours a day?
That's like, if I said I train 6 hours a day, I'd feel like I'm lying.
Up to 6 hours a day. It's still a lot of you're going from with lifting then to straight training. Like how's that?
Lifting and then MMA training.
Lifting and then MMA training.
I get what you mean.
But how's that? Has it affected your mental in any way, or what have you done to kind of protect yourself or to increase your capacity to be able to, not let those feelings overwhelm you?
Feelings
like
of
burnout or, extreme tiredness. Because you're training like up to 6 hours a day and then doing
so
work.
much.
Yeah.
Because I have that strong sense of like purpose behind it all. Like that gives me a reason to always push through that burnout, or like through the times when it feels tough. Most of the time I actually don't even feel that. I don't feel that at all. I'll get one of those like sessions where I don't feel like turning up because I'm so tired. Probably once every couple of weeks max. Like maybe I think in the past 4 months I've probably had only 2 of those sessions. So I don't know. For me personally, I think, that strong sense of purpose underneath it. And then if you need a high level of fitness, obviously, to be able to do it, and it's not going to like destroy you. Yeah. So I had to build myself up pretty slowly to that. It took me because before I even decided to transition to MMA, I was building up my aerobic capacity for like 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was just doing it as part of my body. Like I was just like doing a bodybuilding phase for a little bit. And I thought like, let's get my my cardio up just so I can have more work capacity in the gym, so I can do more volume and all that kind of stuff. And then I started to feel like, when I started to feel fit again, I'm like, holy crap, I can walk up a flight of stairs and it's not too bad. Like, and then I started to get excited about like, hey, I wonder what it'd be like if I go back into martial arts. And and then I had this whole little existential crisis for a little bit. But yeah, then made the transition to MMA. But I had the baseline of fitness there already, which was good. Yeah. And yeah, you need that. You need to be very fit if you don't want, like, if to do that and not burn out immediately.
That'd be crazy. It's such like so much work, man.
Yeah.
Like, especially training for so long. Like, whoa.
I see it as like, I see it for me personally as my like meditation almost, like my escape from the world. Like everyone has their own little escape. For me, that's training. Like that's the way I don't have to deal with my issues for 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or not 2 minutes, but like in this case, up to 6 hours.
Yeah, right, man. You know, we talked about that existential crisis. Do you think that gave you, because of it, or it was contributed to finding your passion behind that purpose?
100%, man.
Yeah.
I need to, if I want to go into any venture in my life at all, I have to give it my all. And the only way you can give it your all is if you have a strong purpose for doing what you're going to do. Because that's what's going to get you through all those moments of doubt, all those times where you don't feel like turning up. Because if you're doing it for very superficial reasons, you're gonna find like you don't really care that much, like because it's not. I don't know how else to put it besides like the superficial reasons aren't going to give you like that strong a motivation for the long term at least.
Yeah, true.
It's very short-lived.
Very, very short-lived. Like, for example, someone wants to go to the gym because they want to look good for girls or something. Yeah. Like, initially they might do that. And then what happens when they do get the girl? They get fat as hell.
Exactly right.
You know? They needed some other reason besides getting a girl if they want to actually stay in the gym for the long term, because once you get what you want, then what happens next?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like when I found my missus, there was like, oh, get ready for the relationship games. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, we're gonna enjoy food, but I'm not gonna slack off at the gym and stuff. Yeah. That's not gonna be a reason for me to think, right?
For you, it was like the opposite. Like you feel like getting more and more fit. Man, just looking sexy every day.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting fat, and then like sometimes I come over and she's like, "Oh, did you get more muscle?" I'm like, no, I swear I got more fat. Like I check the weights, I'm like, I gained like 5 kilos, and then like I do get more muscle.
5 kilos of muscle, man.
I wish. But you know, coming back to that.
Oh, whose phone?
What was? Sorry if I'm intruding into that personal space, but
that's fine.
What was that existential crisis like for you? What was that experience?
It was just trying to find trying to find what my identity was, because my identity back in the day was just like, I'm a powerlifter kind of thing. It's like I realized I needed an identity that didn't tie down to what I do. Just my career or what my hobbies are, or like what I want to do for, like, in terms of athletic endeavors. I needed something like deeper than that. And it took me a while to figure out what that was for myself. And I wanted to figure out what my natural inclinations were, what is something that I'm good at. And I found that for me, being a protector and having my identity more tied to that was something that I wanted to pursue. And like, for example, if I had the superficial goal, like pursuing MMA of just like, oh, I want people to think I'm a sick cunt. What happens if people think I'm a sick cunt when, like, outside of MMA? Exactly. I'm like, do I have any more reason to do MMA? Do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, mine is like, I want to be a protector, and like, how can I be like, how can I be a better protector? Okay, I need to learn to be able to defend myself and defend others.
Yeah.
Let's do that through MMA. But also in the meantime, while doing MMA, I want to see how far I can take it because it's something I really love and I have a competitive passion for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a double whammy.
Yeah. I just had this thought just now, like when you were talking about you had thinking that existential crisis and that contributed to finding your purpose and passion. Like, do you think possibly some people who don't know what their passion or purpose is are too afraid to find themselves in those places of existential crisis or just in this deep place of, you know, feeling lost? Because I feel like last year at the end of the year, I went through some deep shit as well. Like I was spiraling down bad and I kind of just lost myself. But then through it, I became so much better and I just saw a bit more clarity in life. Yeah. And it's kind of that going back to that suffering is necessary for that growth.
Like any time for me personally, like that I've gone through the like lowest points of my life, it's like what'll happen next is I start like skyrocketing towards the higher point of my life. So like it can sound weird to some people, but like I almost get like pretty excited when I go through a low point in my life because I see this is the next challenge, like kind of thing. Because I know once I get out on the other side of this, I'm gonna be so much better as a person. Yeah, like I know. It can sound weird and like I don't know, like I don't think it's a normal mentality to have, but it's what gets me through day to day. Like it's my coping mechanism at least.
I like that type of mentality though. Like when you face something, it's a challenge more than it's a loss. Like it's something that you know you got to gain. Like in the long, like in the end, you got to gain something.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's what's it called? Like initially when you're younger, you experience these low points and you're like, oh, I'm not going to get out the other side, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not going to make it through this. Why is this happening to me? Why is that happening to me, etc. But like once you make it out on the other side of that, you start to gain that bit more confidence in yourself to actually know that you can make it through these low points. Yeah. And then like when you get to the next low point, you have that bit more confidence, you have a bit more of a game plan to get out of it, and it just gets easier and easier to get out of low points. Like it's never easy at all because it's a low point. Yeah. But like now I'm at the point that like as we get older, we all experience a lot of low points from time to time. So it's like if you come into it with a mentality that like you're going to gain something from it, like you said, it's so much better. Like it's so much better, and you really do actually gain something from it because you're coming from the mindset and seeing it through the lens that like this is a way to improve myself. Yeah.
What was that growth mindset? You know, there's always going to be this ebbs and flows of life, man.
Exactly.
Like,
you have to accept it, man.
You have to accept it, and failure is not fatal, man. Like just because you're reaching this low point doesn't mean further down the track it won't get better for you, right? It's that saying, the greater struggle, the greater victory. Imagine winning something when the struggle was so hard. How much more successful do you feel? Whereas if it was so easy and there was no resistance to it, it doesn't feel as accomplishing, you know?
Exactly.
So it's just being able to understand that the struggles and the difficulties, they're not there to try and stop you from what you're doing. They're there to increase your capacity as a person and, you know, to get that growth. Like what we said, sometimes you got to eat shit. Like you just accept to eat the shit that you eat, man. And then when you eat that shit, you don't want to eat that shit anymore. It's like, shit, what do I do to avoid eating that shit again?
Or as you get older and you go through eating the shit, you get better at eating shit.
You start with hands, now you get spoon and fork, man. There's something you eat with chopsticks, bro.
You sprinkle some stuff on top of it to make it more nutritious.
Oh no, man, this is in my mind. I just had gravy, man.
The analogy kind of works.
It does work. That's a disgusting analogy. We're gonna make this on the highlights for sure. Instagram highlights.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you eat shit.
Sprinkle that shit.
Just add some chili flakes.
Gotta spice it up a bit.
Oh my god. Just visualizing in my mind, man. Just a massive turd on the plate.
Just embrace it, man. Just embrace it.
Embrace the flavors. Oh.
Gotta drink to that.
Man.
Yeah, let's drink to that. Oh god.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was actually going to ask, like, 'cause when we're talking about like going down from failures and rising up from it, one thing that actually what you didn't have last time we saw you to now is that you got a tattoo of a phoenix on your. Because when you were saying that, I was like, but then it turned to the shit talk, and I was like, oh, how do we bring it back? But yeah, you had this tattoo of a phoenix.
I do.
Rising up from the ashes.
Rising from the ashes. So, what's the reason why you got that tattoo? And
It looks very sexy, by the way.
Yes.
For me personally, the reason I got it was to me it represented my own my self-improvement journey, my journey to becoming a man, which is going from rising from you rise from the ashes and you turn into something beautiful. So in my sense, it's like going through my lowest point I ever did in my life, where I was suicidal, and then flipping that switch and saying to myself, I need to make something out of myself. Otherwise, and I never want to feel this way again. Otherwise, I'll end up turning into nothing or becoming nothing. So that's representing my journey, and it's just an ongoing journey, and just try and become as big and bright and beautiful as I can.
You're very bright, big, bright and beautiful, my friend. Damn sexy. And you're on fire, bro. He's an actual flame. Damn, it's hot in here.
Get to there, cut on sweating.
But yeah, you mentioned from that rising from the ashes of that suicide to where you are now. How many years has it been since that, when you had those thoughts?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years, yeah.
9 years. But you eventually got out of it, right?
I got
and
out
I'm
of
sure
it,
those years.
Those first few years were insanely hard, like to get out of. Like I was, they were the hardest. Like it's always hard when you're starting something. You know what I mean? But like, the further I'm getting into my growth, like journey, like towards growth, is it gets easier to improve yourself in different areas because you know the process. You know what I mean? And you have more confidence in yourself to know that, like, to stick to the process, even if it's hard, because like as long as you're like improving bit by bit, even like I can't remember what book it was. I think it was Atomic Habits, where they tell you to improve 1% every day. Well, there's a general saying.
Yeah,
actually.
there's a general saying.
Improve 1% every day, because as long as you're doing that, you can improve exponentially over time. But from the day to day, it feels like nothing. Yeah. But I guess that's common knowledge now.
It's common knowledge now, right? Very common knowledge.
But it's like something that it may be common knowledge to know that, like, intellectually, but people don't actually put into practice a lot of the time.
Just because it's common knowledge doesn't mean it's common practice.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's the hard part, man. Like we can, I heard this, all of us were kind of obese with knowledge, but we're not.
I was actually obese back in the day.
Me too. With knowledge. But some of us majority of us are just obese in knowledge, but we're not fit in practice.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's hard.
True. Yeah.
Right. And that's why it's.
Is that a saying from somewhere?
Yeah, I heard it in the audio. A podcast, another podcast.
That's good though. Like you have it ingrained in your head, the back of your head. You're not even sure where you got it from. But it's there, and you have the knowledge of that now.
Yeah. Well, that's why, like, for me, I try to read or listen to something that I can learn every day, even if it's just a short 10-minute segment. At least I'm using my brain to learn something, and it might not stick to me, my consciousness, but it might stick to my subconscious. And eventually, sometimes it'll just come out. Like something will activate it, and I'll just pull it forward. It's like, oh wait, I just had this thought. It's like that saying, how do you know what you really know? You don't really know what
Yeah.
you really know until what needs to be known has to be asked, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why I always think to myself, it's like, I feel like I know a lot less than I actually do.
Yeah,
and then when
right.
someone asks a question, it's like all this knowledge flows out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And all this stuff that you learned
back then.
I completely forgot I knew that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So I was reading this book. I think it was called Peak Mind.
Mm.
How we all have a flashlight. Like we're all searching for something. It's all in the room,
Yeah.
but once we put the flashlight on it, that's when we'll find it.
Yeah. that makes
Or it's
sense.
like a computer. We have tons of folders.
Mm.
We won't know what we're actually looking for until we look through the folders that we need to find. Right?
Mm.
And in order for that to happen, something needs to be asked or a prompt needs to be said so that it can be like filtered through.
It's like the command needs to, needs to be
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
Mm.
So, you know,
I like the analogy, especially the flashlight one, because like it's like the room, the room's there, but you just got to put the flashlight to find what you want in the room. kind of
exactly.
thing.
So I think she spoke about us having two flashlight. We got a flashlight and a floodlight. So a flashlight is that focused thing, whereas the floodlight is like a massive
Broad.
Yeah. So you see more, but it's less focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's really interesting to look into these things. Like I've been reading a lot more like neuroscience and then stuff with trauma, and it's very interesting to listen about, right? Like you just learn so much.
It's actually that stuff like kind of similar to the stuff that I've read about in like recent months,
Oh, really?
and like human nature in general as well.
All right. What book have you read about human nature?
The Laws of Human Nature.
Oh, is it? Oh,
no. By Robert Greene.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it good?
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good so far. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's a 600-page book,
Oh,
so it's
sheesh.
I'm taking it pretty slow. And not only is a 600-page book, but it's very, very small lettering in each page, so it's like very filled out pages.
Sounds
So I'm
like the Bible.
It's straight out the Bible. What's the laws of human nature?
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
What are some of the things that are in the book, like key things that you've taken so far from it?
like because it's been a few months since I read it, but like learning about how to spot narcissists in general, and like just the different types of people, like different insecurities people have. I would not be able to like remember all the stuff off the top of my head. I'd have to reread it.
Yeah.
Like, 100%.
Because it's so very like what do you call it?
It's such a
So much detail.
there's so much detail in everything, and like I kind of when I was reading through it, it was kind of a bit more of like trying to speed read because I was getting frustrated with how long the pages were. So I didn't actually stick to too much of the knowledge. So like normally when I want to brush up my knowledge on a certain book, I'll kind of vaguely glance over it first, and then I'll reread it and then take notes nonstop, and then like test myself on the notes, that kind of stuff, and just keep rereading it over and over again.
Sick.
Repetition.
Exactly.
Yeah, repetition, man. That's how you can help ingrain something.
Because I don't like trying to read a ton of different books. I try and read very key books that I try and put into proper practice, kind of thing. That's why my book collection is like only like it was like 20 books total, but I've just kept reading them over and over again.
No, that's really good. That's really good. One book I read recently that I really freaking enjoyed was called The Like Switch, and it's this FBI agent and like
The Like Switch, did you say? I've read part of that. I can't remember the guy's name, but
I forgot his name. But like it's really interesting, like how being such a likable person can, people will do more for you when they
100%. I put that into practice all the time. Just trying to be as nice as I can to people, or just be as likable as I can. When I can't even, it's become subconscious to me now. Like it's hard to bring up this stuff, but like, the more people like you, the more they do for you. And like just having people skills in general, like you don't realize how much doors that can open for you. Just having people who actually enjoy your presence.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another book I think I suggested to you was Influence is Your Superpower. I finished it. It was a really good book. Like how influence is so impactful into our day to day. Like she was saying this one exercise she had for a class and how they were able to exchange a paperclip to a car. And it's just so crazy that how people would follow someone who has a purpose or passion behind the things that you do, as opposed to it being such a superficial thing. So like the people who were changing their paperclips for something they needed, they only got to like a notebook or something small. But when there was a purpose behind the paperclip, people were like, oh, I want to be a part of that. So the purpose behind it was, we want to be able to change this paperclip into something that we can provide to someone like a refugee who needs things. And they were able to get that car and donate that car to a refugee. So it's like, you know, the purpose of our things, if we can make it in a way that's in a way to help others and that is not superficial, people buy into that. People want to be a part of something where they can, oh, I helped these people get to where they were. It was,
it's something greater than yourself, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of why religion is a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course, right? That's why people, it's kind of like a purpose they don't have to do for themselves. It's something they can just join into.
They can serve someone else.
Serve someone else, right? Just being a servant.
And I noticed that, like, and I can't remember who said it before, but it's generally like, if you're doing something, your purpose is outside of yourself and it's to serve others, you get the greatest fulfillment of that.
Yes.
Compared to just doing something purely for yourself.
Yeah. I wrote that in my notes as well. Like, a purpose should be something that isn't for you, it's for other people, right? That's when you really see it succeed. Because any type of success, we need people. We need people to succeed, no matter what it is.
No matter what it is, it's like massive.
Yeah, it's very massive. Like the book I'm reading now, The One Thing, it was saying that no person is self-made. Everyone has had someone behind them that they've followed or has helped them, you know, in some sort of way. So it's having that purpose more than yourself, greater than yourself, that is so much more fulfilling than something that you're doing just for your own, you know, accomplishment.
Straight up, dude.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
That's it. Shit. I love it, man. Shall we take this baby into landing, or is there anything else that we want to cover? I think it was we covered a pretty decent like
Do you have any closing questions?
Yes, we do. We actually have 3 closing questions that we started to ask anyone who comes in.
I'm assuming I'm going to be put on the spot.
Oh, no. You'll be fine. So these 3 questions, you know, feel free to answer them as comfortable or as open as you like. So 3 questions.
Let's do it.
What are you grateful for? What have you realized? And what is a question you want to ask yourself or to the people listening?
Okay, we'll start with the first one. Say it again.
What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for, one, cliche as it sounds, being alive.
Yeah.
To actually do what I do and just try and have any sort of impact as I can, and like being able to serve other people. I'm grateful to have the physical gifts I do, in the sense that like, because that way I can better protect other people. What else? I'm grateful for living in a first world country where we can actually do all these things.
Exactly,
you know?
man. At least we're not in like Ukraine or anything.
Yeah,
right?
we don't have to we can think about like how we can succeed and all that kind of stuff, rather than how can we just survive. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Off the top of my head, that's probably the main things I'm grateful for. But just outside of like living, breathing, etc. Like I'm legitimately just grateful to be alive and just being able to do day-to-day things, man.
Definitely.
Like,
that's it.
Because there's things like I always get put in perspective when I'm in security work, especially working in a hospital, like seeing all these sick people, all these people on like who just I'd meet them and they die like a couple of days later, you know what I mean? Or people who are just like crippled and all that kind of stuff. It really puts my life into perspective, and just being grateful for just being alive and able-bodied. And not only able-bodied, but being an athlete. You know,
Exactly.
So yeah, that's definitely something I'm grateful for.
Yeah, I think it's so important. Like every morning when I get a chance to sleep over at my missus' house, like I wake up and I'm just like, wow, I'm so grateful to be alive right now, right? And it's just, how many of us take that for granted? Just living, and then just being where we are,
man.
just being, you know,
yeah.
I like the being in the moment. I think the other day we were just talking about, I was like telling her like, man, like we just have to embrace each and every moment that we have. Like as much as we want to look back into the past to remind us of all the stuff we've been through, and also look forward to the future. Like we always have to be in this moment of just living, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you know Robert Greene, right?
Yes, I've heard of him.
Yeah, so he's like, I've heard on some of his podcasts where he talk about like he's creating a new book where it's like seeing the sublime in the day-to-day life, where it's like being able to appreciate, like just appreciate the beauty in the current, the present moment, and being able to find the beauty in the little things, like like how, like for example, the leaves fall in autumn or something like that, like seeing how like the sound of a leaf hitting the floor, that kind of stuff. Like it sounds kind of woo-woo to the outsider, but like it's when you can actually truly appreciate that stuff, you're so much more content with life. You know what I mean?
I think like in those times when we were under influence of certain things that we will not discuss, but it's so crazy how you find a greater appreciation of in this moment and just everything you're surrounded by, just the world in itself, like the leaves brushing and flowing together, just the air and the clouds in the sky, right?
Seeing sunlight just beaming on your face.
Exactly, right? Like just those small things. We take those things for granted, man. Like your beautiful garden, man, and then Quagmire sitting there so peacefully on the couch, right? There's so much beauty in the world, but all of us, because our minds are programmed to be attracted to the negative, we always forget about those small nuances. Getting
caught up in the rat race as well.
Exactly. And I've been there. Like sometimes we've all been there, right? Sometimes it comes back. You're like, oh man, like I'm so frustrated. I want to be here. I want to be there. But if you look at it, and anyone who looks inside your life, they're like, man, like you guys are successful at what you're doing. You're successful in what you're doing.
When someone tells me like, will tell me like, oh, you're successful, blah blah blah. Like I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Exactly, right. You like yourself don't see it.
Yeah, it's like it actually boggles my mind. I'm like, no, bro. I'm so far away from where I want to be, that kind of thing. But then when I think about it, I'm like, oh wait, like I've had some successes in my life, but I don't see that as successful. Do you know what I mean?
Like in hindsight, you are successful, but there's something greater that you're working towards. All of us. You have your own vision. You have your own vision. But like, we just have to remind ourselves, like, man, like I have made some wins. Like I am succeeding, but just because I'm not where I am doesn't mean I'm not successful. Like just because, man, you waking up in the morning, that's a big success. People don't even wake up anymore, or people wake up and they're paralyzed.
And some people where it's for example, people who are extremely depressed, like just getting out of bed in the morning is a success for you, man. Because that's the first step to being able to do anything. Like to be able to come out of that is you waking up and just that's it. Waking up and getting out of bed. That might be a big the biggest task for someone.
Exactly, man.
But as long as they're able to do that consistently, and then they start making more moves like over time, and then eventually they can try and tackle it. You know what I mean?
There's never like, you know, always be there to uplift people and just be there just to be a good person, right? Why do people bring people down? There's like no point. It's just to fool your own ego and
it's
stuff.
always out of insecurity, man.
Exactly.
They see the other person as a threat. It's like the, what's it called? The crab mentality.
The crab mentality. It sucks, man. It sucks.
Everyone's gonna experience those people in their life.
100%. You just gotta remember what your vision is and why you're doing things, and you just stick to it. Just because someone else doesn't understand what you're doing, even if it's people that you love, they don't see what your vision is, doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong. You just gotta stick to it, and you just keep doing what you're doing that you love, and eventually those things will turn to success. If you keep going, if you keep pushing, keep growing, keep learning. Obviously, this is only a small part of the success game. Like, there's a whole big other thing that you have to do, but just doing those things consistently day by day, that can help you.
And it also depends on what people's definition of success is as well. Exactly. Just know what your definition of success is. Anyway, moving on to the second question. What have you realized? In any sense, like what have you realized today? What have you realized yesterday that was like, oh wow, like a light bulb moment for you? trying to figure out, say something that like.
It doesn't have to be something so profound.
No, not really. But like for me, just I just realized how finite our time is on Earth in general, like in life.
Yeah.
Like every year goes by quicker and quicker, and if you don't start putting at least, like, if you don't start putting your foot on the pedal at least somewhat towards a greater goal, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's obviously good to sit back and like not feel too pressured into just constantly just being hammering things out all the time. But like, you need you need to make the most of your time, like while we're alive, because it's goes by so quick, man.
Yeah.
I'm only 27, turning 28, but like, I can't imagine how quick time would be going by for those people who are like 10 years or 20 years older than me. Like, because time's subjective. So like when we were like, 3 years old, 1 year would have felt like absolutely forever.
Yeah.
Whereas 1 year just goes by in the blink of an eye now. And then if we're 40, it's going to go even quicker. 50, it's like by the time someone's like 70 years old, a year's going to be like nothing. Like, and before you know it, you're dead. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just realized how much more, like, it's not anything new I'm saying, but it's, for me personally, like what's like actually like being shown to me through my own day-to-day is like just how short time is, man. How short this life is.
Yes.
Yeah, make the most of it.
Exactly, make the most of it, right? Make
Yeah.
the most of it. So use your time as wisely as you can,
Wisely as you
or
can.
as just embracing every moment that you have.
Exactly.
Final question. What is a question you want to ask yourself or to the viewers listening?
Ask myself.
Yeah.
Haven't done that in a while.
It's a tough question. Everyone always like has a struggle with this one.
That could be your question. Why haven't I asked
Yeah,
myself?
so why haven't I asked myself? That could be a really good question. Why
What are some examples of like other things that people said?
That was another example.
what are you living for?
What are you living for? Who am I?
Who am I? What did you value last year that you don't value anymore?
Actually, something I realized that I ask myself a lot is, what do you want out of life? Like I actually do ask myself that a lot. Like I don't even think about it too much in a sense, but like in my mind, I'm like, what do I want? What do I want? So yeah, that's something that I can definitely ask myself. Do I just answer that now?
It's up to you. That's a question for you to answer, or you can answer it now if you want. We'd love to hear what you'd have to say. So what do you want out of your life?
I think I initially said it before. It's like I want to create as much positive impact as I can before I die.
Yeah.
So whatever facet or whatever venture I'll do that through, like whatever way I can, that's my purpose. That's what I want out of life. But I'm always asking myself that same question because I want to see if there's any other way I could do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to be a multifaceted person, not just one-dimensional. Like I used to be extremely one-dimensional. Like I'm just a powerlifter. That's all I am. Like I'm just a powerlifter. But like, what happens if I don't have that anymore? Yeah. Like, who is Chris? Without powerlifting?
Who are you without powerlifting?
That way, like, if I don't do MMA anymore, I'm still Chris. You know what I mean? Like I don't have an existential crisis again.
It's like that question, like, what do you do? Like, who are you? Most of us place our identity on our job. Like, it's not like, I'm like a brother, I'm a father, I'm this. I'm a person who does this and that, who wants to drive positive impact in life, right? It's if you ask the right people, it's value driven, it's value focused when it's that question, but then others will be career focused. So it's, what
happens if they don't what happens if they don't have that career anymore? They're gonna go through that existential crisis like we did.
Exactly. I love it, man. Thank you for taking the time to join us, bro, and it was really good to see you again.
It's good to see you, man.
Sexy ass motherfucker. Good to see you both. Good to see you both, man. But yeah, it's really good to catch up with you again. Like, Damn.
That's great, man.
Your flight's fast, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, because I was looking back on my story archives on Instagram, and I saw the story I posted where I was getting interviewed. You got
yeah.
at my house.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's already been a year.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You just go zoom
flies so
and
fast.
life just changes, right?
And I realized like how much I've changed physically since
Yeah.
then too. Like when I saw that, I'm like, whoa, I used to look like that.
Hey man, you're mentally sexy, and then you got mentally sexier, and then your body just
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
always been a sexy man. Anyway, we'll close this out. Thank you for spending this time again, and
worries, man.
thank you for listening. We hope you guys stay safe, always take care, and always choose to get up. Peace.
Okiru.